support Roland Martin Unfiltered, be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Joining us right now is John Hope Bryant. He is the founder of Operation Hope. He has been one of the folks out there, again, making that possible, trying to make that thing possible as well. John, how you doing? All right, is John there?
Hey, Roland.
Hey, John, how you doing? All right.
I'm well. Thanks for advocating on behalf of our people.
Well, I certainly appreciate it, sir. Glad to have you here. And also, y'all see that water bottle sitting right next to John? Just so y'all know, yeah, he sent me one too. So this is a huge water bottle, so I keep it right here.
It's not cheap. This is not the cheap one. This is the real deal.
No, this ain't cheap. This ain't cheap. So nice big 25-ounce bottle. And so, Anthony, what are you doing? Go to Split Shot. And so just want y'all to know I stay hydrated doing this 2-hour show. And so we're certainly glad to be here. John, first and foremost, talk about, again, the work that you have been doing to make sure that we are getting our fair share of this $2 trillion deal Congress passed.
Yeah, so let's keep it real clean here. We can play, we can get into political partisanship at another time. The color now is green. It's not red or blue. It's not black or white. It's green, as in the color of U.S. currency and sustainability of the environment. It's all hands on deck. I'll explain why, in my opinion, in a second. But and as you know, Roland, I've worked with successive administrations, Obama, Clinton, Bush, etc., because the color is green and we don't get enough of it, as you've been saying on your show. And thanks to the senator and others for working bipartisan basis, the good old days, bipartisan basis, to get this legislation through in record time. About 10 days ago, I got a call on a Saturday morning from the Treasury Department asking for my help. I said, of course, what? They said we need creativity around a $300 billion small business liquidity program. Should it be equity? Should it be debt? Should it be a grant? So on and so forth. So I put out my iPad and sketched some stuff out and sent it to him. And a couple of days later, somehow it found its way, a draft of it in the Senate bill. It's going to be live, I think, this weekend and accessible to all Americans. I'm concerned that African Americans, for a range of reasons, African American small business won't get their fair share. Even nonprofits, by the way, listen now, everybody listening and watching this can get access to this. In other words, you get funding too. Individuals have access, companies have access, nonprofits and faith-based organizations should get liquidity.
And again, independent contractors. So, for instance, if you're a freelancer, if you're somebody out there and you're a consultant, so you don't actually have a business set up, but you're just an independent contractor. Mnuchin today at the press briefing said that they can also apply for this. Business owners can now apply for up to $10,000 cash advance grant through the Small Business Administration, and then you can get working capital up to $2 million. And one of the things that also jumps out, there's a loan forgiveness in that if you keep your employees, right, John?
Yeah, this is employee centric. First of all, it's unprecedented. There's never been a windfall like this of opportunity for our people if we take it ever in 100 years of modern government. This even going back to the Great Depression, never been anything like this before. And so, yes, if you keep your employees on, you don't pay that portion of the loan back. That's the grant piece that was built in to it. So it functions like a loan. But if you furlough your employees versus firing them, bring them back, or hire, you get to keep that money in order to pay it back. It becomes equity in your business without having the government be your partner. Roland, let me give some little context for how big this is.
Yep.
People throw around these numbers and nobody really thinks about it. When we bailed out the automotive industry, everybody got all worked up about that. That was a couple $2 billion. When we had the mortgage crisis, of course, that was the worst thing since, as you know, the Great Depression. That was $187 billion, give or take. 2 weeks ago, it was $1 trillion, a T, went through the Federal Reserve through the Fed window to banks to keep them liquid. Then there was a $2.5 trillion, this package, that just passed through. That's $3.5 trillion. There's probably another trillion that will come through as part of this whole stimulus. That's $4.5 trillion. That is 20 times larger than the last stimulus in the history of this country, and it's a literally a quarter of the GDP of this country. $4.5 trillion. They're literally taking a $4.5 trillion worth of cash and plugging a hole in the economy covering 90 days. It's unprecedented. And the banking regulators have signaled to the banks, do not put undue pressure on borrowers, read black and brown folks in this example, who are good people. In other words, you paid before, but because you were laid off, because you have some trauma now, you can't pay right now. Back off of them, give them 30, 60, 90 days to reset themselves. Do not penalize them, and you can restructure that mortgage. Unprecedented, Roland.
The reason this is so important, the reason I'm spending this amount of time on it, and to my panelists, if y'all have a question for John about this, get your questions ready, because I'm going to go to you next on this. It's because, John, and I'm just going to go back to when, in 2004, when I filed for personal bankruptcy because of health, because I had my appendix ruptured.
And by the way, so proud, Roland, that you have no shame mentioning that. People
Right.
should have no shame in their game about mentioning what's going on. It's just something that happened. I'm so glad you said that.
A dude in the White House that filed bankruptcy 4 or 5 times. So it's like, so I mean, I'm just, come on, and so the reason, here's why I'm saying that, and you can speak to this because you've seen it. African Americans, we have been raised, we have been taught. Our whole thing has been you got to bootstrap everything. And so then what happens is we put all this pressure on our shoulder. How are we going to meet our obligations? How are we going to pay it? And I've talked to people and they're like, man, I couldn't believe you filed for bankruptcy. I was like, yo, white folks created this system. I'm just using the system they created. And I remember, and I never forget, I remember sitting in the room and I looked at the faces of all the black people. Man, it was pain, it was pressure. I saw all these white folks who were perfectly fine. So I'm talking to this one dude, and he's telling me, man, this is the 3rd time I filed, wasn't no big deal. And when I look at it, so last night, just so everybody understand, I ain't got a problem saying it. So when I got a phone call from my CFO, and she said, look, what we gonna do about the show? I said, what do you mean? She said, well, you're not paying yourself from the show. You're living off of your speeches. Your speeches have all been canceled.
Right.
She said, advertisers are not spending money. What are we gonna do? So I'm sitting here, I'm looking at all the financials, I'm going through, okay, how much are we getting from YouTube? How much are we getting from our followers? How much more aggressive can we get to ask them to give? And I'm going through everything, and then I'm also looking at all these news stories. And I'm seeing that this initiative begins tomorrow. Mm-hmm. She got an email at 4:30 this morning because I was up. I said, yes, y'all applying for this tomorrow.
Yep.
I wasn't going to sit there as a small business owner, yep, with 10 employees,
yes,
watch something that we launch end because, oh my God, I don't know what to do. That's $2 trillion. Black people, let me be real clear. White folks, the moment this bill got passed, was focused on this. I need black people. Black women start a business at a faster rate than anybody else. There are 2.6 million black-owned businesses, 2.5 million have one employee, doing an average revenue of $54,000. Here's the federal government saying, hey, you can apply for this thing and immediately get a $10,000 cash grant. And then we can help you when it comes to, because what I saw was, hold up, if I keep my employees, don't lay anybody off, how much, loan forgiveness? Loan forgiveness mean you ain't got to pay it back.
And no credit score requirement for the first time ever, Roland. No, the traditional requirements have been set aside. This has never happened before. 2 things need to happen in our community. Young folks need to, and our elderly people, my auntie, 86 years old, called me and said she was going to a funeral. I said, please allow me to be blunt with you. Sit down. You ain't going nowhere. If you go to a funeral, you're going to end up being in one. We need to tell our folks to go sit down somewhere for 30 days So this crisis of the virus will flatten. Then we need the small business owners to stand up. We need our people to sit down. We need small business owners to stand up and apply immediately as if your next breath depends on it. There's never been, as you just said, a opportunity that I have witnessed ever like this. This is the federal government telling the bank regulators to tell the banks to go easy temporarily on a black business. By the way, this is not a license for fraud. It's not a license for cousin Boo Boo to be a flake. I'm talking about responsible people. Most of our people are responsible people who could pay their bills if they could. If you're having a situation, you're going to get a 60 to 90 day pause in your financial life. Never happened. That's on the debt side. Now you can sit around, as Roland has done, and reimagine your business plan without financial stress of new debt. Then you get to flip and have this new capital, call it equity, because we don't get equity in our communities, coming in from the, federal government through banks directly to you within 30 days or less.
So, John,
We are not going to get this, Roland, because we're not going to pay attention. And by the time we do, the money's gone. Go ahead.
Reese, you're going to be first up with your question. But I got a couple of people on YouTube, and they're like, yeah, but you got to do this thing through a bank. Well, most business owners, first of all, if you're a business owner, you likely have a business bank account.
Yeah.
So you probably are already doing business with a bank. So, John, go ahead and just explain that.
Yeah, we just need to stop it. Like, we kill ourselves before we even get out of the blocks. Just stop it. Stop with the cynicism. Stop with the complaining. Like, complaining don't pay a bill. Like, this is serious, people. Go to the bank. The bank is just simply a conduit for this. This has been guaranteed by the U.S. Treasury Department. I was part of the design process. I'm telling you, this is an unprecedented opportunity. Wait to get some bad news before you create something for yourself, okay? Go to the bank and so go to the SBA and apply. You go through the bank that's SBA guaranteed and apply, as most banks in America, and see what happens. And call out, if you want some help, go to Hope Inside Coach. I'm in 22 states. I have clients in 40 states. My services are free. Talk to a Hope Inside coach, a Hope Financial coach. We will help you package this. Go to the Urban League or whoever. Go to the NAACP empowerment offices or whoever you have a relationship with, and let us walk you through the process if you trust us versus trust the bank. And the bank is literally a conduit because the loan is guaranteed by the Treasury Department, so the banks are cool with it.
Reese, you got a question for John Hope? Bryant?
Yeah. I just want to, you said something about by the time people apply, the money is gone. Is this something that is time sensitive, or is it first come, first serve? What is the criteria for how this money is being shelled out? Is it something that if you apply and you meet the criteria, you'll get it, or do people have to worry about some sort of racking and stacking of the different applicants?
It's a great question. And it's a double hit. By the way, your answer is yes and no to that question. I'll answer that in a second. First of all, you should get a check as a citizen. So if you filed a tax return, I hope everybody paid taxes, or at least filed a return. You filed a tax return in 18, 19, they know where you are. If you make $75,000 or less, translation, most black people, you're gonna get a check for $1,000, $1,500. If you have two parents in that household, two people in that household, and it's less than $150,000, you're gonna get two checks. If you have a child in that household, you're gonna get three checks. And that's gonna happen in the next 15 days. Set that aside for a moment. Then you have unemployment insurance that you can apply for if you've been laid off. Now, as a business owner, there is a deadline. I don't want to speak specifically until I see the new regs that they just did today. But my last check was June 1st. But the problem is not that. The problem is that it's $350 billion, give or take, for the small business program, and that sounds like a lot of money. But it's a big country, and the mainstream folks are going to the window first. And I'm concerned that by the time we get there,
right,
the money will be gone, even though the deadline will still be out in front of us. You need to apply like your last breath, depending on it, as in next week, over the weekend. Just keep trying to that website until you can apply or go through one of the conduits.
Erica, your question for John Hope Bryant.
Yes, thanks, John. My question is, will there be virtual sessions? You spoke about people going to Urban League, NAACP folks that they have relationships with. So I'm thinking about barbers, I'm thinking about hairstylists. Will there be some type of virtual session where they can get guidance on how they need to go through the process of obtaining these grants and loans?
So I know Derek, I know Mark Morial at the Urban League and the NAACP. I assume they're focusing on this. If not, hopefully through this video they will pivot, but they're very smart guys. I can't speak for them. I can tell you at Operation Hope, we are doing virtual sessions right now. So all of my offices, go to operationhope.org, it's all free, are doing virtual office sessions right now. By April 15th, we'll have a app out called Hope in Hand. It'll be on, whether you have an Apple device or an other device, Android, you'll be able to download it free again, and that will help you. You can go through the app to navigate to get to one of the coaches. So you go through a coach, go through MBDA, go through SBA, or go through a bank that you have a relationship with through their SBA department.
Greg Carr, your question for John Hope Bryant.
Thank you, Roland, and thank you, Brother Bryant, for this work, and especially now. Couple of very quick questions. One, do you anticipate another round of this type of funding when Congress gets around to passing its next iteration of relief? And then the very specific question I want to ask, I was on a conference call a couple of weeks ago with a number of Black booksellers and bookstores. Most of them 10 employees or lower. Taking advantage of this, how long do you think these smaller businesses, how long would it carry, for example, a small business who successfully applies for and receives the grants or the loans allowing them to keep their employees on?
It's a very good question. So I'm going to say something a little unorthodox. And Roland, this is the first time I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it on your show. And I hope that you take it in the spirit that I'm saying. Actually, this is an opportunity for you. It's an opportunity for those small bookstores that you just mentioned. So they have they've calendared enough money to actually carry you well into the fall based on what I've seen in the program. The crisis is scheduled to go no more than 90 days. If we do our jobs right as Americans and shelter inside for 30 days, then within 60 days, they'll be trying to find a way, the government, to let you back into your normal flow of life. And then with that, all of us are going to find it a national point of honor to go shopping. Every person I know is going to want to go get out the house with all the family they love and go to restaurants, shopping malls, bookstores, any place but home. That's going to create a second surge or stimulus, a consumer stimulus. So you're going to have $4.5 trillion of stimulus from the government, another stimulus from the consumers. That's going to pop third and fourth quarter GDP, gross domestic product. And so you may actually end up having a savings account or an equity investment that actually exceeds what you need to get over this period. And listen to me now, you've also had a delay in your payments to mainstream institutions, regulated banks, because the banks have told their customers, if you got a federally insured loan, FHA, Ginnie Mae, Fannie Mae, whatever, or a proper bank, they're going to delay your payments and they're going to modify your loan. Those payments are going to go back on the back end of your current agreement, which means you get 30 days of a window of low payments or no payments, plus you get some new equity that will last you a period of time, let's call it 6 to 8 months, but you're going to hopefully only be in this window of challenge for 2 to 3 months where you'll be able to surge back into your own life. I'll say one last thing. You take this in the spirit that I'm saying it. It's going to be a fire sale on everything post-crisis. You want to buy a home, discount. You want it to merge with a business, buy a business, you'll be finding a bunch of folks who need to merge. You want to grow, it's going to be a fire sale of things. Stop. You'll be able to buy stocks at a discount and ride the wave back up, provided we shelter in place, provided the economy comes back in the natural arc. Roland, this is a very important point. Please, people need to understand, this was not an example of rich people, crooks, pimping poor people. This wasn't a subprime mortgage crisis. So this is not an economic crisis. This is an act of God. It's an act of nature. There's nothing wrong with the economy. So if we can get through this quickly, if it takes too long, then it's a whole other conversation, Roland, of a broken economy. we can get through this in 60 days, I prefer like 45 days. The economy comes back, we repair the damage, it surges, and you have opportunity on all levels. Was that clear?
So let me just add to that, which goes with what Greg just said. So I'm gonna use myself as an example. Okay, so there were some different deals that we were very close to locking down that were six-figure deals, advertising deals. Everything right now stops. So the approach that how I'm looking at this, Greg, is I'm looking at the fact that first of all, I don't have business loans, so I don't owe anybody. This pay as we go. So my whole deal is here are our expenses. This is what we know for rent, for staff, for us to be able to do this show every single day, to give this kind of information, which no other black website or digital platform is doing for our people. So my whole deal is, okay, if I can apply for this money, and then it basically serves, and John, you can just jump in if you want to, it basically serves as a venture capitalist for me. So
Exactly right.
the money that I would have been getting from advertisers, in essence, I'm getting this money from the federal government to be able to keep paying my employees so I don't have to lay them off.
Right.
So now
Right.
they still have a job
Right.
and we still doing the show. I don't have to go from 10 to 7 to 5. And then what it does is allows me to go, okay, to next 60, 90 days, and here's the piece. If the coronavirus deal is not under control in 60, 90 days, Congress has to go back and do it again. Because what they can't afford, John, and this will be the final comment from John, what they can't afford, as the head of the SBA said at the news conference today, small businesses account for half of America's GDP. They can't afford for guys like me to go out of business because you ain't got enough large businesses. America is actually run through small businesses.
So here's the numbers. Roland's correct. 50% of all jobs in America are small businesses. 20% of all jobs in America, of all small businesses in America, of all jobs in America, are companies with 20 employees or less. Companies like Roland Martin's. And 70% of this economy is consumer spending, the people who work for these companies. 90% of all businesses in LA are companies with 100 employees or less, and LA is the 12th largest economy in the world. See how this all connects together? So Roland is literally correct. I'll give you one other thing. No one can afford for this not to work. Why? Because this is not a crisis of poor people in New Orleans or poor people in South Central LA. Oh, we're so sad about the state of Texas. This is a global crisis, and rich folks, and I hope there's some rich folks watching. I don't mean rich. When I say rich folks, I don't mean white people. I mean rich. I hope you are rich. Wealthy and rich folks, difference. What rich folks and wealthy folks need for this to succeed. Otherwise, their stocks don't come back. Their net worth doesn't come back. They don't have customers. They don't have workers. Literally, this is a reset. It's so beautiful in some ways because now it's a chance. It's a great leveler. We literally are all in this together, and now everybody's intertwined with everybody else's destiny. The wealthiest in this world, in this country, needs Roland to succeed. Needs you now to succeed. The color literally now is green.
And
So
folks,
yep. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish your point. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, and we got to guard against, no different than we say to people, I need you to social distance because you may feel good, but I haven't seen my mother physically in 3 weeks. I see her on FaceTime because I maybe feel great. I might have it, but if I get close to my mother, I could kill her. I could hurt her. So no different than we need to make sure we're all practicing social distancing and tell our friends to go sit down somewhere. That needs to be the new social movement in Black America. Conversely, we need to make sure there's no fraud in this program. There's no game playing. Tell people who are fraudsters to go play someplace else. We need legitimate businesses to step up, which is 99% of us, and take advantage of this right now and make ourselves proud. I mean, we've been asking for equity. Here you go. You've been asking for creative debt. Here you go. You've been asking for somebody to give you a break? Here you go. You've been asking for a time to reset your mind? It boggles my mind, Roland. Folks are like, I need a break. Can somebody just give me a few days? You've been given a month. Pull your dream board out. Figure out what you want to do when you grow up. Reimagine your life. You've been given creative flexibility on debt. You've been given flexibility on planning your life, time with your family, time with yourself, and some capital to start or move your life forward. What are we waiting for?
Folks, this is, and for everybody, and John has been a huge supporter of this show, and I greatly appreciate that, just like our panelists. This, y'all keep seeing me hear me say this, and y'all may think I'm crazy. This is why you have to have black-owned platforms, because John's on CNBC. They ain't gonna have a segment with John that long.
That's right.
Breaking this down.
And not this blunt.
Right. This is the stuff that we need, because trust me, we're not getting it on these mainstream networks, which is also why we need folks to support. A lot of y'all on YouTube been giving. I appreciate it. And y'all been hearing me for a year and a half now talk about why we need 20,000 followers, giving $50 each, $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day for this kind of information, because this is what we have to get. John, there's a conference call tomorrow that's specific to these issues in black businesses. You're going to be on that call when it's done. Hopefully it's not going to be a 5-hour call.
No, 1 hour.
Perfect. So when it's done, we want you back on the show tomorrow so we can keep pushing this information out so our people are not locked out. And if I'm correct, when you talk about the website, we're going to do you have the where they can go? Because I think it opens tomorrow to begin to apply.
Yeah. So I don't want to give you the wrong information.
All right,
I know if you go to SBA.gov, they'll have everything there. So I don't want to give you the wrong information on the website.
So folks, go to sba.gov, sba.gov.
And Operation Hope will have it as well, operationhope.org. So let me say a couple things in closing, Roland. One, I'm a member of your program.
Yes, sir.
Because we got to walk our talk. PhDs are good, but PhDs are better. So I wrote a check, and I'm encouraging everybody else here to write a check. You can't afford not to do it. If you believe in it, then back it up. And so that's the first thing. Second thing is there is a call with the White House tomorrow, and I'm happy to come back on. But you also can get on that call will be Ambassador Andrew Young, Dr. Bernice A. King, CEO of King Center, Tommy Dortch, Chairman of 100 Black Men, the Russell family. I don't know which one. Somebody from the Russell family. Cassius Butts. There'll be Lisa Borders, who is a brilliant former chairman of the Coca-Cola Foundation. There'll be a lot of luminaries, Reverend C.T. Vivian, who will be joining this call around this focus at the White House around black businesses accessing the CARE Act. So we're going to come out of that with information that is useful to your audience. I'm happy to come back on. If it's helpful.
Well, we're going to have you on, and we're going to have all of them on as well, because we here 5 days a week. And we're going to hammer this thing every single day so we are not left out. John Hope Bryant, founder of Operation Hope, man, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Peace and light.
All right, thanks a lot. All right, folks, back to our Roland Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, so a lot of y'all always asking me about some of the pocket squares that I wear. Now, Robert don't have one on. Nope. Now, I don't particularly like the white pocket squares. I don't like even the silk ones. And so I was reading GQ magazine a number of years ago, and I saw this guy who had this pocket square here, and it looks like a flower. This is called a shibori pocket square. This is how the Japanese manipulate the fabric to create this sort of flower effect. So I'm going to take it out and then place it in my hand so you see what it looks like. And I said, man, this is pretty cool. And so I tracked down, it took me a year to find a company that did it. And so they basically about 47 different colors. And so I love them because, again, as men, we don't have many accessories to wear, so we don't have many options. And so this is really a pretty cool pocket square. Now, what I love about this here is you saw when it's in the pocket, it gives you that flower effect like that. But if I wanted to also, unlike because if I flip it and turn it over, it actually gives me a different type of texture. And so therefore it gives me a different look. So there you go. So if you actually want to get one of these Shibori pocket squares, we have them in 47 different colors. All you got to do is go to RolandSMartin.com/pocket squares. All right, so first of all, that graphic is way too small. So tomorrow we're going to run it right down here all across the screen. So it's RolandSMartin.com/pocket squares. All you got to do is go to my website and you can actually get this. Now, for those of you who are members of our Bring the Funk fan club, there's a discount for you to get our pocket squares. That's why you also got to be a part of our Bring the Funk fan club. And so that's what we want you to do. And so it's pretty cool. So if you want to jazz your look up, you can do that. In addition, y'all see me with some of the feather pocket squares. My sister, who's a designer, she actually makes these. They're all custom made. So when you also go to the website, you can also order one of the customized feather pocket squares right there at RolandSMartin.com/pocket squares. So please do so. And of course, it goes to support the show. And again, if you're a Bring the Funk fan club member, you get a discount. This is why you should join the fan club. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.
Hey everybody, this is your man Fred Hammond, and you're watching Roland Martin, my man, Unfiltered.
Hi, this is Essence Atkins, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Hey, yo, Peace World, what's going on? It's the Love King of R&B, Raheem Devon, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Hi, my name is Brescia Webb, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. Ow. Well, I like a nice filter usually, but we can be unfiltered.
What's going on? This is Tobias Trevelyan, and if you're ready, you are listening to and you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
What's up? I'm Lance Gross, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Hi, this is Cheryl Lee Ralph, and you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, could it be any other way? Really? It's Roland Martin.
You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Hey fam, want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? The blackest show on all of digital, cable, and broadcast. Check out our audio podcast. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Press play.